The Dragon Ball franchise is the standard for powerful anime fights, pushing beyond your limits and yelling. However, that doesn't mean it can't have other quirks about it. In fact, watching the different series in the franchise, there's a lot of questionable moments and ideas brought up, both in their world and in ours. It's time we take a look at some of them. But before we shed our manners and get into these possible raunchy moments, subscribe to CBR and ring that bell to join our notification squad so you never miss any of our Dragon Ball videos in the future. Everybody loves Bulma. The common theme for some of the entries in our list involve the OG characters from the Dragon Ball series. No, not Goku. In this case, his blue-haired genius partner in adventure, Bulma. Bulma is introduced to us as Goku's partner in finding the Dragon Balls. She pulls her weight in this adventure in a big way by using her creation, the Dragon Radar, a device used to track the ever-separating Dragon Balls. During this time, Goku is a small monkey boy child with immense power. This contrasts Bulma's pretty teenage genius aesthetic that she brings to the table during their adventures. Because of this, whenever they go out on the road during the series, Bulma is always the target of any romantic advances, unwelcome comments, and ends up in awkward situations because of her body. Krillin the Hustler. People love to write this character off as one of the weakest fighters, but just because humans aren't necessarily on par with Saiyans anymore doesn't mean this person will let you attack the planet and the people he loves. That's right, it's Krillin time! Krillin was introduced to us as Goku's rival as the World Tournament began in Dragon Ball. After sailing for a long time on his own personal boat, Krillin arrives at the small island home of Kame House against Goku trying to find Master Roshi multiple women for a date. Krillin, having gotten word prior to his arrival on the island, came prepared as he has a gift for Roshi to help persuade him to give him training. He gives Roshi an entire stack of adult magazines. Immediately distracted by the reading material, he grants Krillin permission to become his student. Oolong, Roshi, and Bulma. We've already mentioned that throughout the adventures in Dragon Ball, Bulma is pretty much approached by nearly every single adult. Well, it doesn't just stop at some of the humans like Master Roshi who make advances. We're also talking about other Dragon Ball characters like Oolong, the talking pig. Much like Roshi, he chills out for most of the day and indulges in adult hobbies. Not to the same degree as Roshi, but to the degree that he can be pretty over the top about it. He's got a big collection of women's underwear and can transform into different physical forms. More on that in a second. During one of Goku and Bulma's encounters at the Kame House, they needed to retrieve the Bancho fan to put out the flames on Fire Mountain. Roshi would only give it up if he got a real chance with Bulma. She reluctantly agrees as it's the only way to save the Dragon Ball they're looking for. Oolong has a thing for Bulma too, though. He transforms into a version of Bulma with bigger breasts for his liking and takes a walking date with Roshi. On the date, he exposes his chest for Roshi and he's knocked out. Bulma's floored that Oolong did that. Oolong may not be as big of a creep, but he's definitely the runner-up. Goku and Bulma. They're the main adventurers of the original series, so it's not horrible to assume that Goku and Bulma might have had some possibly awkward encounters. Not in the romantic sense, but even the humorous sense can give us a few weird moments between them. For this example, Bulma tries to bribe one of the Dragon Balls away from young Goku. At this point, she understands what a lot of guys want from her, so she tries to appeal to his male senses. She gives her a flash of her underwear and offers him fair game at it if he gives up the Dragon Ball. This backfires on her as Goku knows the Dragon Ball's true value and accidentally insults her during his rejection. Burn. Another example, in one of their first nights they spend together, Goku lays innocently on her lap while they sleep. However, he begins freaking out when he doesn't recognize certain physical features from Grandpa Gohan on Bulma. She awakens him to saying, "No balls!" But she takes this as the Dragon Balls are missing. No, Bulma, that's definitely not what he meant. We get that you're a child, but you shouldn't be so handsy with someone while they're sleeping, Goku. But throughout the years, Bulma learned that Goku's one of the few people she doesn't have to fear in that area. Go platonic friendships. Bulma flashes Master Roshi. We thought about holding on to this entry for our Dragon Ball list, but we couldn't hold back this classic moment between Bulma and Master Roshi. Roshi is referenced a lot here, but this one gets its own class of raunchiness compared to the other entries on the list. Early on, back in the start of the original series, Goku and Bulma were nearly at the start of their Dragon Ball adventure before meeting Master Roshi. After saving a sentient turtle from a giant bear, he introduces our duo to the turtle hermit himself, Master Roshi. We don't know anything about Roshi at this point, but we'll soon learn that he's a powerful martial artist, being that he's the one that teaches Goku the Kamehameha wave. After coming into contact with the duo, he gives Goku with the famous Nimbus Cloud. The Nimbus Cloud allows the rider access as long as the rider is pure of heart, something Master Roshi definitely is not. Soon after giving Goku his present, Bulma notices the Dragon Ball around his neck and asks how to have it. Roshi says he'll give it up if he could see her underwear. She concedes, but when she lifts, she unfortunately doesn't have any on, giving Roshi more than he asked for. How did little kids watch this? Goku and Oob leave. The events on Dragon Ball Z regarding Majin Buu left the world destroyed, revived, and spent on energy from helping create a spirit bomb to help defeat Buu. Goku hoped that Buu in his strongest Kid Buu form would be reincarnated as someone he could spar with that wouldn't be evil. Following that defeat, the world experienced another period of peace. In 10 years after those events, another world tournament is beginning and a lot of our heroes have entered. Goku gets particularly excited as he senses a powerful energy that he hasn't felt in roughly a decade. He starts searching around and finds Oob, a small village boy who has entered the tournament. Goku has Majin Buu, the good one, rig the bracket so he can face off against Oob to verify his theories. Once in the ring, the battle ramps up as Goku continually pushes and challenges Oob. Soon into the fight, Oob begins to catch up to Goku in terms of strength and energy, shocking all of the Z fighters. Goku sees this as an opportunity and leaves with Oob for training following the battle. Although this shows initiative towards protecting the Earth in another crisis, it's totally short-sighted. He leaves with Oob, but leaves behind his wife and his children, showing no regard for his family. Well, that's the life of a Saiyan, I guess. Android 18's beatdown. During the Buu saga, when the Z fighters were dealing with the initial threat of Babidi, the rest of the heroes were off collecting the Dragon Balls for the inevitability of using them to resurrect someone. We mean, it's not like somewhere Vegeta didn't just die, so Dragon Balls would be pretty convenient. However, after the plane crashes, Master Roshi falls face first toward Android 18, who's carrying her and Krillin's daughter Marin in her arms. She gave him the opportunity to move his face from her bosom, but Roshi takes full advantage of his opportunity. Roshi smashes his face into her, trying to disguise it as a demonstration on how she saved his life when the plane crashed. 18 coolly places her daughter down and swiftly manhandles Roshi. Roshi, who's in pain, still takes advantage of the opportunity in front of him and proceeds to grab one of 18's breasts. She finally shows him no mercy and spin throws him into the wall of the plane. Powerful on and off the battlefield, Android 18 was shutting down pervs way before Twitter. Blackface Mr. Popo. If it's a good enough reason to say something to the Pokemon franchise, it's good enough to say to the Dragon Ball franchise as well. Fans definitely made their opinions heard when one of their favorite shows made references to blackface. Although not intentional, fans were incensed to see a character like Mr. Popo appear on the show. Mr. Popo is pitch black with wide, full lips and resembled an early 1900s minstrel performer or a racist depiction of a black person in general. The physical features that gave fans these assumptions are actually opposite of what Mr. Popo represents. Mr. Popo is a deity that lives on Kami's lookout as his assistant. He comes from Otherworld and was sent down to Earth to be the assistant to whoever Earth's guardian is. This puts Popo around 1,000 years old by his first appearance in Dragon Ball. Just because he isn't an alien doesn't mean he can't fight. Throughout the entire franchise, Popo has been seen during the training of many characters, either as a standby, sparring partner, or even as a teacher. He's the first person Goku tries to fight upon discovering the lookout in Dragon Ball, and he later helps Goten train in his Super Saiyan form. His color does change in a later series, so we applaud Dragon Ball for taking note, even if it wasn't intentional. Is that Hitler? As a rule of thumb in comic books, anime, and pretty much any sort of fantasy series, death is laughable and lacks stakes. The entire namesake of this series refers to items that bring someone back from the dead. That refers to pretty much anyone, good or bad. In DBZ Fusion Reborn, we get to see some of the bad return. The movie mainly features Goku and Vegeta facing off against the powerful creature known as Janemba, until they ultimately use the fusion dance to create a new warrior. It takes them a few tries, but we get Gogeta from this pairing. However, in one of the B-plots, Trunks and Goten face off against the Dictator, a familiar-looking enemy fans would recognize from a history book. It's an animated version of Hitler. Many enemies return from the dead in this film, and one of history's greatest comes with an army. During their encounters, Trunks and Goten see their fathers fuse into Gogeta. This gives them the inspiration to fuse into their famous Buu fighting fusion, Gotenks. The Dictator makes a comment on how Gotenks has blonde hair and blue eyes, which solidifies anyone who was still on the fence as to who this character was supposed to be. Thank goodness they disposed of him quickly. We don't think anyone wants to see that face again, real or fictional. Gohan and Piccolo. Like a puppy being raised by a herd of sheep, an unlikely pairing can make for a great situation or a great relationship. Sometimes, even both. In the case of Dragon Ball Z, it's definitely a both situation, featuring Piccolo and Gohan. Gohan, Goku's son, is dressed like Goku to show that he's being prepped to go down a particular path of training. But once Goku was killed during the Raditz Brawl, Piccolo took the reins in Gohan's training. Although it started off a little bit rocky, by the end of the Cell Saga, Gohan was fully rocking Piccolo's clothing as he received more training from him than Goku at that point. That must have been a big sting in the heart for Goku to have watched his son be trained by and dressed like his former enemy. Ouch. Outlandish or not, Dragon Ball certainly gives us lots of moments to talk about. Is there a moment we forgot about? What character do you think makes the boldest moves? Let us know in the comments section below, and don't forget to subscribe to CBR for more Dragon Ball videos just like this one. Thanks for watching.